We all have our own answer to the question, who would you invite to your dream dinner party? After all, a good meal is nothing without great company. So Allbirds is asking people to put their cards on the table and get to know each other's true nature.
Cheers.
Cheers. You gotta grease those cogs.
You are Molly Ringwald.
I am.
You're an actor.
I am.
You're a writer.
Yes.
You're a singer.
I'm a singer, yes.
Yeah.
And a translator.
Really good one. And a translator.
And a translator.
Well, you're going to have to translate what I'm saying later. Henry Golding, you used to host a travel show.
Yes, I used to be in broadcast.
Right.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And now you're an actor.
And an actor now.
Yeah. It's a shame no one knows who you are. Yes. And Chantelle Nicholson, you're a Michelin green-starred chef. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. But
It's very much about restaurants that are a bit more conscious about the impact on the planet. So kind of sourcing locally, seasonally, creating delicious food.
So who wants to pick the first one?
I will.
Molly?
Oh, go.
When things don't go your way, how do you respond?
Exactly.
Next.
Touche.
No, that's Tucci.
That's like a dad joke.
You got it. You got it.
If things don't go my way, I can become petulant.
Yes.
That's, yeah. And then my wife goes,
Calm down.
take a deep breath.
Settle down.
But still, I do it.
It's hardwired.
I'm the same.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You?
Same.
Oh.
As a chef, it was encouraged
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
stubborn and petulant and like, F off, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. That was kind of what was instilled in us.
I feel like that whole sort of tyranny of the like, I don't know if is that even still allowed now?
Not as much.
I hope not.
I mean,
My hope is that no, that doesn't exist. I think there's still a small echelon where it does and it's tolerated. But I think it's, I've been in the London restaurants in 20 years and what was tolerated 20 years ago
Yeah.
and shouldn't have been in some ways,
yeah.
Isn't now. But then in saying that also, for me, it was just, I was like a sponge. There was just so much to learn. But
Yeah.
how about you, Molly? What's your...
I mean, I've heard from people that have known me for years that I've mellowed a lot. I think when I was younger, I was much more demanding and then you get older and you sort of...
You have to let it go.
You have to let stuff go. And
Do you think your industry also potentially perpetuated...
I feel like when I was younger, I was advocating for myself, but it wasn't viewed as such. If you were advocating for yourself, if you were a woman, it was seen as difficult or diva behavior.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between a man and a woman. Certainly in Hollywood, but also in any workplace. If a woman says, hey, that's not right, or I want this, she's categorized as someone you don't want to be around. Whereas if a man does it, it's, he's taking control.
Yeah, he's taking control. He's strong.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants.
The word bossy is generally only used for females, right?
Yeah.
This is a good one. What's one comfort food that you can scarf in times of stress?
Oh my gosh, there's many. This is quite random. Buttered cabbage.
What?
Buttered cabbage?
Buttered cabbage.
But cooked or just
Cooked.
cold?
No, cooked.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say, I can imagine you just...
Sauteed buttered cabbage with a touch of chili crisp.
Oh.
Was that something that you had when you were younger?
No.
Because usually comfort foods are something that you associate with childhood.
This is true.
But that cabbage to me is that sort of food that we used to like tuck around the plate when we were
500
little.
things.
Like, yeah. I like cabbage now, but cabbage my mom used to make something called Bubble and Squeak.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
That was our nightmare. It was our biggest nightmare.
I love like fresh bamboo. I'm from Malaysian Borneo, so
Yeah.
a lot of the food is sort of foraged out of the jungles.
Right.
And I used to remember my mom and her mom, my grandmother, used to sort of sit on the sort of veranda, peeling and chopping this bamboo, and then they would just stir fry it with a bit of salt, some oil, add some like anchovies, and that was the dish. And that always brings me home.
Really?
That's
Where do you find that here?
You can buy it in a tin.
I want
Yeah.
You were buying
It's
this.
not the
same,
same.
though,
No.
What conditions bring up the most inspiration and creative forces in you? All right, so as a creative person, what kind of environment do you create?
There's many different ones. I think for me, when my thought process is clearest is when I'm not around my phone, and if I'm immersed in something, whether that's at the gym, whether it's doing a spin class, where I'm not, the only thing I can think about is that moment.
Right.
And then when I like to create food, it's when I'm immersed in incredible food and flavours, and I don't have the pressure of needing to create something then and there.
Some people like to create sort of angst or, difficulty on a set, and because it gets them sort of going. I'm not like that.
at all. I've never liked directors that are tyrants, or I never liked difficult audition process. In fact, I've never liked auditions at all. Some people thrive in auditions and then can't bring it on the set, and I've been the exact opposite. Like if somebody believes in me and I feel like they believe in me, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they say like, "Oh, prove it," I'm just like, "Okay, no."
Also, those are weird. An audition is just it's like a vacuum.
Strange phenomenon, actually.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
How do you-
Acting to a mark. And,
Yeah.
Or on a Zoom's the worst.
Oh, no. It's terrible.
You do Zoom auditions?
I mean,
Wow.
they've happened.
What do you most wish to see outside your bedroom window?
I remember my first apartment that I ever had in London. It was like this third floor room in this 4-man house. One of the most beautiful things, apart from just like living in pretty much squalor with 4 adult men,
Oh, God.
were these beautiful sort of robins that used to come every single morning outside the window. So for me,
Sounds very ideal.
waking up to life, or like a tree or a bird like singing, I think that for me is joy, because it reminds you of very basic things. Then that's like the breath that we take and our health. It's simple sort of notes like that. I think I love waking up. What about you?
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Well, living in the wrong country.
I know, but that's what makes it so special when you have it. I was in Switzerland last week, so you've got the blue sky, the incredible sun, of which there's a word for, the warmth of the winter sun.
The
We
what?
know it, the warmth of the winter sun.
Oh.
It's called apricity. So when it's freezing cold outside, blue skies, and that sun just rejuvenates
warmth.
you. Exactly.
Apricity.
Yeah. New word for today.
I like that.
What's something odd that you do when no one is watching?
Jesus.
Oh,
A bit early for that, isn't it? You already had one glass of wine.
I vote you first.
All right. I'll go since I dragged you all here. I clean.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This guy's like the perfect man.
How are you going to compete with that?
No, I'll clean and sort of organize things so that they're sort of visually what I feel is right. Objects,
Structured.
stuff on a desk, on a shelf, and then I can look at it and go, okay, and then I can continue with my. Yeah, nothing neurotic about that at all.
If I'm on my own, my resting sort of thing is to walk around the city and just with
Yeah.
no goal and just
Yeah.
it's strange how 3 and 4 hours can just disappear
Yeah.
with nothing to do, which is to sort of the detriment to the cleaning of the house and like I wish it was like my wife wishes that I had that, Stanley. But I'll disappear and I'll procrastinate.
I'm sorry. I think that's great.
Yes.
I think this is the thing that people forget is we always feel like we have to be doing something. And you're like, no. The best thing you can do is that.
Be in the moment.
And you learn, I don't know, it sounds funny, but you learn so much by doing
Yeah.
so little.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're not on your phone,
Yeah.
That is a
the
big-
phone.
which is huge for me.
You have to
And it feels so
Away
good.
from, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who taught you the most about love? That's a good one.
People that taught me most about love are my parents. But because they were very restrained with showing their love. And, you know, it was of a generation where you didn't share emotionally how you were feeling. But I think it made me realize how important communication with your children really is.
Yeah.
And so it taught me the most about love, for sure.
Yeah, it's a different generation.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
different generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my father's very sort of military, very stern, and went through a few awakenings later in life, became a bereavement counselor. And so I think he did work on his
Whoa.
That's incredible.
emotional, like, inability to sort of share his emotion by helping others. So he's made, like, amends completely. So I'm in awe of that still.
My parents definitely taught me, but my kids.
Yeah.
And I remember the twins, they were having an argument. They were probably about 3. Her brother said, I don't love you, or something like that. And she said, yes, you do. She said, don't you ever say that. You do love me. And don't you ever say that again. Like she was parenting him,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh,
Fine.
I love it. I don't like
unusual
you.
male sort of, you know, all right, I guess I'm wrong. You know, I'll never forget it.
I would say more than anything, my children have taught me how to love, really, because they've taught me how to love unconditionally. Kids are frustrating, and they don't always do what they're supposed to do or what you think they're supposed to do or react the way you think they're going to react. Our job is just to love them.
Love is a one-way street.
One-way
sometimes.
street.
And
And
it's
you're lucky
okay.
if you get it back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you do. And it does come back, not always. I mean, and not always when you want it. And I feel like they've just made me a better person to just know how to love unconditionally like that.
Yeah.
What's something in your life you'd like to cultivate, and what's a weed you keep trying to pull?
Social anxiety for me.
Yeah.
That's the weed.
Yeah, that's the weed. Caring what other people think. In just an everyday setting. My concern is like maybe I'm disrupting like a service or like interrupting somebody by asking a question or my kids are playing too loud. So I have like a pleasing
Right.
kryptonite. Like I need
Yeah.
to please people.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, then it's like the Antichrist.
You're hard on yourself.
You are.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way of wriggling out of that one. So yeah,
That's
there's no
not
wriggling out of that.
always a bad thing,
Yeah.
unless that in itself cripples you.
Yeah.
I think my weed is a sense of over-responsibility, which is kind of similar in some ways, I think, that need to ensure everything is... I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I want to make sure everyone's happy. I want to make sure they enjoy what they're doing and that they feel safe and comfortable. And sometimes it's just that empathy that I feel sometimes gets in the way,
Yeah.
which it shouldn't in some ways. But I feel that is that sense of just allowing people to have the autonomy, the responsibility, and to make mistakes
Trusting
as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's really interesting that we all are focusing on the weed
I was about to say that. We all,
Something to-
but that's what we do
Just
as
the
humans, right? We do that.
We do,
Yeah.
yeah. But what's something in your life that you'd like to cultivate?
Probably patience. I have tremendous patience for my professional life, but I do not have patience for everyday things. For me, they have such a dramatic effect for the rest of my mood or the rest of my day. And I don't know how not to sort of be overcome by it. But again, I think
Practice.
I think
Just
it's
practice.
It's
Yeah. Mine would be the same. I always think I want to meditate, but I don't have the patience for it.
Oh, this is a cool one. I like this one. What kind of 100-year-old do you predict you'll be?
Look, you want to be 100 if you're cognizant and
Yes.
vaguely mobile.
Yeah.
not hooked up to a
Otherwise-
machine. It's like barely making it.
Yeah. I have no desire to be 100.
Yeah.
You have no desire to be 100?
No.
Oh, I do. I definitely expect to be 100, and I'm kind of looking forward, in a way, to that. I mean, not to like sort of be trapped by, you know, having to look a
ideology.
certain way, to just be able to, you know, look however I want. Yeah, just
Just be
old. And, you know, say what I want and look how I want.
Yeah.
And, you know, have all of my grandchildren and great grandchildren serve me. And
I think I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm gonna have all the work done. I'm gonna be one of those like granddads. Like, how old is that guy? Is it like 40 or 70?
His forehead's not moving.
no, but you will have had all the work done. But by the
Right.
time you get to 100,
Okay.
I think you.
Yeah,
that
they're
will be
actually
done.
not allowed to do work on at 100.
Well,
Legally, they can't do it. Yeah, because you've done
You've
it.
looked into it.
What's the last thing that made you feel like a kid again?
I went to Disneyland New Year's Eve.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. When you say that, it's like,
So great.
why? Because I have two kids.
Yeah.
But to see the joy, the fear, all the emotions that my little girl was feeling with like all these rides.
Yeah.
And I was sat next to her just like in my own childhood with her. That for me was just like one of the most joyous things. Seeing life and joy through your children's eyes is like unbeatable.
Yeah.
It's almost like a new lease. It's like you get to restart your memories again. That was such a joyous experience for me. But it was pretty hectic.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that.
I really love octopuses, like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Like a ridiculous amount. And this was like before my octopus teacher and everything, so like I was ahead of that.
Just so you know.
Not being competitive or anything, but I got to see an octopus in the wild. And and I was snorkeling, and I was kind of like poking around and looking, and I poked at this what I thought was the wall, and it was an octopus, and it squirted me, and then like, you know, swam off, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. So 2 times I've seen octopuses in the wild,
Wow.
and I think both times I was filled with this giddy, nerdy joy.
Yeah. 100%.
So you definitely don't eat octopus, like.
I definitely do not.
Just checking. Just.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it wasn't really that hard to give up. It wasn't like I loved octopus.
Wasn't
So
like it was a staple.
yeah, it was not a staple. So it was very easy to give up.
Coffee?
Yes, please.
Oh, shit. I just poured it all over everywhere.
What's an answer that surprised you tonight?
Obviously, I'm probably the odd one out at this table in some ways, but I think there's so many similarities between, well, I guess industries for want of a better word, but I think people that actually there's that similar thread that runs through a lot of our thoughts, our actions, and even what we do as careers.
I feel like what surprises me about this evening, but also just people in general, is how much anxiety we all feel and how hard we are on ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that we're a pretty accomplished table. Like, we've done stuff, and yet we're all so hard on ourselves about what we haven't done, or what, you know, our shortcomings. Or, like, you look at a table and you think, oh, Stanley Tucci has no reason to ever feel like he's failed. Like, you are, to me, you are a very accomplished, you know, human being, and yet we all feel this, you know.
My wife sort of posed that question recently.
What, that I was a failure?
She thinks you're the perfect man, Stanley. What are you talking about?
I think he is.
Exactly. There's no finding it. But it was the fact that's like, well, why aren't you happy with what we've achieved? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, you know, you're always looking for the next job. You're always looking for the next big thing. I'm like, I think early in my life, I made the choice to not be content with what I have because I want to achieve greater. It's a curse as well as a gift, because it's driven me to where I am. But at the same time, I don't allow myself to enjoy the fruits of the labor, because it's always kind of, I need to do better, I need to do this. It's a very sort of difficult balance.
This is not anything I've ever done before, and I liked it. I'm really happy to meet all of you and to get to know you quite intimately.
Quite intimately.
Yeah.
I just got my therapy for the week. It was just like, it was really fun.
But isn't it so interesting how you can be so open to complete strangers, but when it comes to a loved one,
Yeah.
you can be so guarded.
Very true.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that, like, maybe I need to bring this home and like,
Cheers. And thanks.
Cheers.
This is so great to meet you all.